Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. What we're going to be doing here today is showing you guys how to get the game to still look good, even though you're running a low graphic preset without extra effects on, alright? So the main thing here is that you have your glare quality still on maximum, okay? That's going to make your lights look really good, no matter what other settings you have on. Another really big thing for this low spec stuff is that you have post-processing in full resolution. Okay, if you don't have this in full resolution, your post-process filters won't be correct with the lighting in the cars and the dashboards and everything else in the game. So, post-processing tweaks, full resolution. Anti-aliasing, if you have to, you can turn it mostly off. That's going to be up to you. But the main thing here is that we're just going to be running a 70 FPS locked preset with the frame rate limited for a low spec PC running the graphics that keep the game without any bugs. A big problem with some people's low spec presets and graphics optimizations and filters is that you sacrifice game bugs for no actual reason. So let's go ahead and load in with these settings, and what we're going to do, just for display purposes, is I'm just going to go to a standard time in the day, maybe around 1400, and I'm going to drive a car in the game that I know is a normal car that came with the game, and we're going to be on pure. Now don't worry how the game looks when we load in, because I'm going to show you guys how to change everything and even make your own version of a low spec post-process filter for yourself and be able to change how your game looks for yourself. Alright, so at the moment this is how the game's looking as I just loaded in with whatever weather and stuff I was running before. And as you can see, for not having extra effects, it still looks really good. It still looks totally fine. But what we're going to do here is we're going to open up our Pure Planner. And we're going to take our Pure Planner, make sure we're on the sun, and we're going to hit something like Scattered Clouds, because that's going to give us clouds in the sky. It's going to give us our sun to work with. And we're going to get rid of the line in the horizon in the distance by turning down the horizon offset. You see what that's doing there? So I'm going to lower that so I always have clouds in the sky. And if it doesn't work, you have to click on landscape and just uncheck landscape use, and now you can control the horizon without having any problems. The next thing I'm going to do is make the sky just a little bit less blue and a little more bright. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting a little more into our game here. I'm going to turn down, actually let's just go ahead and reset this to defaults. I'm going to right click everything just so I can show you guys what the game's actually looking like in its true form, and then with our small changes that we're going to make. So if we go like that, let's go back to main and see if we can get the reset to default button here. And more or less, this is kind of what your game should look like. Even without extra effects on, you should still be able to have some sort of decent graphics. If you want to change things and have things be more designed for you, the biggest things that you can change is something like the sun saturation, which is going to add color to the sun, right? You can see that happening. The sun level, which is going to drastically increase the sun level across the whole entire game, so you can feel free to change that to your liking. Another thing that we can change here is all of our ambient light. Okay, so a really big thing here is ambient light in all of these settings. So if you take a look at our ambient light, if we turn it down, what you'll notice is that the air looks like it's getting brighter. The sky's getting brighter. This is affecting everything in the whole entire game, right? And so will the advanced ambient light. That will also affect basically everything in the game. And your light ambient saturation is also really important. As you can see, it's adding blue to the game when you do that, purple bluish, right? So you want to make sure that these settings, you just go through them. And even if I have no idea what something's doing, let's just say I didn't know what cloud brightness did. If I just go like this, I'm going to see what every setting does, and we're going to see how the game is getting affected by the different settings. So if you want to have a more blue sky with way more clouds and more different depth and color and brightness, just your cloud contrast, you know what I'm saying? You can easily change all of this stuff to be how you want it to be in the game at the time of day that you want it. So let's say we want to go to a sunset now, right? Let's just say we go later on in the day and it's sunset now, and you're looking at this sun that's way too orange, way too red. You don't want to have that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to our sun saturation, and we're just going to make that what we think looks good on the road. Turn down the sun saturation a little bit, and now you're good to go. Another thing we can change that's really going to help out is our sun blinding and our shaders. So if we go to shaders and we go to sun blinding, what I'm going to do is uncheck allow control by PP filter scripts. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow me to edit the sun blinding to be how I want it to be when you're facing the sun. You see what's happening there? We're getting more or less sun blinding the more or less we do this. So if you want that sun blinding effect, that's how you're going to get it. And then another thing in here is the iris of the sun blinding. It'll really change overall. And there's also going to be another thing, I believe it's the star style. So if you see on the left, you get a little longer, sharper God rays coming out of there, but on the right, it gets a little more flat and just overall hazy. So this is another really important thing that you have to adjust for yourself. Everybody has a different preference of how they want the camera to look while they're facing the sun. And if you have, let's say for example, you've got too little or too much, you can also turn it up and down in here too. So what I personally like to do is in the PP tab, I like to turn down the sun blindness, which kind of makes it so the sun is a little more visible and there's a little bit less going on in the sky. And then I'll go to shaders, and this is where I will decide how much I really want to tweak how that's going to look, right? So as of right now, we're still on a no extra effects game. You see what I'm saying? No extra effects. It looks how I wanted it to look. It might not be how you want it to look, but this is how you come in and you change all this stuff. And then you have a good looking game instead of a bad looking game. Even though you don't have extra effects on, you can still get all of these nice effects going on. So even without extra effects, I can still come in here, I can still hit something like heavy thunderstorm, and the game might not look good right now at this exact second out of the box, but again, it's something that we can come in and we can change our cloud brightness, our cloud contrast. We can get the game to look how we want it to look, and then we can go into the shaders, because now we have lightning going on. We come into here and we hit lightning debug, and the other thing that we're going to hit in here is the lightning debug sequence. And now what should happen is, while on heavy thunderstorm, there should be lightning somewhere in the sky that we can actually see. And we're just going to make sure I'm actually on heavy thunderstorm, and if this isn't working, then it's whatever right now. But I do think that as soon as I start changing these, right, and making the size bigger, let's make the size bigger, the height lower, I can see it flashing. I don't see it in the sky, but I can see it flashing on the ground. So if we want to make sure we can see it in the sky, let's make it a little darker out here, and let's see if we can locate that lightning in the sky, because I can see it flashing on the ground. There it is right there. So now, still no extra effects, and our game still looks just fine at nighttime. The lights are a little bright, and if you find that an issue, all you got to do is go to your CSP lights emissive. turn that down a little bit. Depending on the filter you have, this will be more or less. And again, we're sitting here with a beautiful looking game, in my own personal opinion, for not having extra effects on. And this is what you need to do to customize your game to get everything looking how you want it to look. Alright, that's my guide here. That's my quick little bit of information. That's how you can run really nice settings without having to compromise for a massive performance loss. And at the end of the day, you can extend this through every different type of shader that's there. And I'll show you another one real quick. I don't know if I have the rain effects on. I think I might have turned it off. Yeah, I did turn rain effects off. But even though it's off, I'm sure if I go to the data tab and increase the mist, what you'll notice here is we have mist on the ground basically, right? So if you go to shaders and you go to ground fog, you can change the size of the fog near the ground. You can change the scale of it, even though that's not really doing much. You can change the gain of it. You can edit your game to be exactly how you want it to be, even without extra effects, man. This is how you're going to get a budget PC to run nice settings and have the game look good. So just follow this guide. The description has all the links you need for the settings. The post-process filter I'm currently using is one of the paid ones on my Patreon, but this is a no extra effects game. You can use any of the free Patreon settings. You don't have to worry about buying the post-process filter that's there now. No reshade, no extra effects. Game's fine. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the game.